Hi everyone, welcome to the latest episode of the Impact Series hosted by 4Zero. My name is Michael, I'm one of the co-founders here at 4Zero and lead recruiter. Today, delighted to be joined by Daniel Seidel, who is co-founder and co-CEO of a fantastic space-orientated company called LiveEO. So delighted to have you on the show. Daniel, welcome.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you about like all the existing stuff on the sustainability side. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, look, it's an interesting topic. We're talking about space and using satellites as a way of monitoring and affecting change here on planet Earth. So, look, for those people that aren't familiar with the business, can you give us a bit of an introduction into the company, what it is LiveEO does, how your products and services are helping from sustainability perspective, and what your specific solutions to kind of some of these really big challenges we're facing as a planet.
Yeah, I'm super happy to do so. So basically, my background is in space engineering, and that's also where the story starts. So everyone knows Elon Musk and the rockets from SpaceX. But basically what's behind this is that the entire space industry gets commercialized. And this started more than 10 years ago, right? So around about 15 years ago. And when I was still at university, I was seeing that this is a big historic trend. After the rockets, there were a lot of commercial satellites. So they're getting cheaper, smaller. So you can launch a lot of these. And actually, what's the result of this is that you have like hundreds of satellites who take images of the planet every day. And what they're actually doing is measuring the pulse of the planet Earth. On the other side, through climate change, we are facing way more problems with the environment and actually with the physical world around us. And yeah, when I met my co-founder, we have actually seen this as a huge opportunity, right? So you have on the other side technology which you can use to understand climate impact, and on the other side, like there's a growing demand for these issues. So with LiveEO, like we started in around about 2018, and we have our first product was actually for climate resilience of infrastructure like power lines, railways, specifically when there is a large storm. There is a lot of, for example, trees which fall on railways and on power lines, and you need to understand this. So this was our first product back then. And yeah, the company, to wrap it up, has really the goal to unlock the full potential of these Earth observation satellites to benefit humankind.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good, very cool mission, and one that is, is much needed. As we were discussing before, lots of different ways of addressing similar types of problems. So let's kind of, I suppose, touch on some of those, some of the products and services you've got, and perhaps, I know we discussed earlier about there's a specific product you've launched which is focused on deforestation as well. So can you give us a bit of an insight into that product and how that is helping?
Yeah, I'm super excited about our new product in the supply chain. So when you think about deforestation, in the past, it was mainly a discussion on governmental level, and it was NGOs also tackling this issue. But now the European Union actually launched a law just a month ago, which is forcing every company in Europe which imports commodities like cocoa, palm oil, rubber, timber into the European Union. They need to prove that they didn't cause deforestation. Okay. So it's now like it's a big impact if you think about this. Huge, before, yeah. It was more the governments taking care of this, and now you as a consumer, when you drink your coffee, you know if you cause deforestation or not, and the companies have to pay a large fine. And why is satellite data so helpful here? There is actually no other way to look all across the globe in the supply chain for let's say a small farmer somewhere in Africa. like how do you want to get this information? Yeah, you can send someone there who is doing probes of the soil or something like this. But with satellites, we can go back in time. We can see, was there rainfall 2020 or not? And basically can see if the supply chain is compliant or not. So it's going to have a big impact. And this is just the first law in Europe. We already see discussions in the US for similar laws. And yeah, I'm really excited about this because it really now has a commercial impact for example, food producers. Yeah.
That's cool. So is the legislation, does that state that you need to look back to 2020, or is that where your data goes back to that you're able to call upon, or in fact, could you go back further should you need to?
We could go back further. So it's basically the law. They have set up a cutoff date. So 1st of January 2021, you are not allowed to do deforestation, okay, or you were not allowed. Yeah.
So let's say we're a big food producer. Obviously, plenty of them out there, but like Nestle, McDonald's, all these sort of companies. But so they're now complied. They have to compelled to actually make sure that they're not causing deforestation by any of the products that they're acquiring or bringing into the European Union. Is that right?
It's exactly. It's very specific right now for 7 commodities, and they have now like the large enterprises which have more than 250 employees. They have time until end of 2024. Okay. The smaller companies below 250 employees have time until mid 2025. So they got 6 months extra. Right. It's a bit like in GDPR. And yeah, they have to do this, otherwise they have to pay really large fines. So it's like 4% of the total revenue, and it's immediately in the millions, and for very few even in the billions, because they're making a lot of money. Yeah, indeed. But that's, I mean, so super. But in terms of the impact that could have, or that will have, it means that they've as a business, they've got to prove that the products they're bringing in are not causing harm, basically. And so by using your software to then look to analyze that and go back, well, was there a rainforest in 2020, or was there and is there one now? So if there was in that patch of land, or parcel of land, or whatever you want to call it, if there was previously forest and now there's not, it means that as a company they can't or they shouldn't use that particular farmer or supplier. So that's kind of forcing them in a way to really clean up their act, clean up the fact that if there is any suppliers doing things in a way they shouldn't be or unscrupulously, they've then got to remove them from their supply chain. It's a big problem. Like also we see even if it's still, let's say, 17 months until they have to comply, that the large organizations, they're already engaged today because of business continuity. Yeah, like to remove, let's say, 5% from your supply chain, you need to replace it with new suppliers. And then you also need to assess the new suppliers if they cause deforestation or not. And it all takes time, right? There are, like, we know of some large producers which have millions of suppliers. I was really surprised that one single company had 1 million of suppliers. And then also the supply chains are very complex, right? So it's not that you are the food producer and you have one supplier. There are traders, importers in between. There are tier 1 suppliers. There are the mills, right, where they actually get from very small farmers sometimes, like the commodities, and so it's a chain. It's a really complex supply chain. Yeah. And with our software, it really goes from the producer to the smallest farmer somewhere in West Africa, and we want to enable them. And also the farmers get the software for free, because actually the food producers are the ones who have to take care. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, well, it sounds like, I mean, look, very, very important, also very, very complex issue that LiveEO are obviously helping to kind of solve. But this is like, I think on a big scale as well. So I think there's a lot of, from your perspective as a company, your customers tend to be
pretty large enterprises from my understanding. So, I mean, who are some of those, if you're able, I'm not sure if you're able to, but some of those customers that you're working with at the moment, what does a typical user case look like? So, typical customer, what they might be using your software for.
You mean in the supply chain or?
Well, just in general, like who, so I mean, I noticed there's some big logos on your website, like Elon,
Yeah. So in the resilience product, it's really from the asset managers who have a big overview to the people who are outside in the field. And I think this was when we started the company, very important for us, that you should not be an expert to benefit from the analytics we have. So in the product for our electricity customers, for example, it's the people who treat the vegetation and like who utilize our software. They have a mobile app, they get a work order, hey, there is a sick tree, take care of it. And they don't even need to know that the information was derived from satellite data, right? So it's really like we didn't want to tackle the data scientists or so. We really wanted to go to the people who are in the operations, and it's the same now with the supply chain. It's really like having a software which goes to the people who procure, for example, new suppliers, or the farmers who have to sell their goods. It's really helping them in the operations, and it's like we're tackling very heavy data and AI problems, but on the other side, we also need to build very well designed front end applications.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let's kind of touch on the company now. So I think you said you started the company back in, well, wasn't not very long ago at all, really, 2018. Been, a particularly, impressive success in terms of funding and also in terms of headcount. So I think now, initially, I think you said that there was you raised 1.5 million euros back in 2019. There was a much bigger raise last year. I think 19 million, I believe it was last year. And headcount of 120 people. So that's some pretty significant success you've already had as a business. But look, what does the future look like? So, what does the future look like in terms of, headcount, in terms of funding? If we were to fast forward 12 months, 18 months, what does LiveEO look like at that point?
Yeah. So when we started the company, like we didn't have a fast exit in mind or so. Like we really, like our goal is to shape the entire ecosystem. Like we want to be the leader in building applications from Earth observation data, and that needs capital, that needs people, like world-class people, and that's why we already today have that headcount. So right now, you also see a lot of interest in climate solutions, climate startups, but also in the past 6 months there was a lot going on in AI. So even if there was a global cool down in investments in AI, it actually took off.
Right, okay.
So that's why we are also talking to investors. Like there will be activity in the coming months, and that's why we expect a further growth in 2024, like a significant growth. Yeah, I mean, also like the go-to market with our supply chain software, that's going to be really exciting. But there are also some other products behind the scenes. We want to go deeper, and just to tease it, there's you also know there are a lot of problems with droughts, right? So it's very even in the UK where you located, it's becoming very dry in the summer.
Yeah, well, not this summer at the moment. It's been last few it's been pretty wet, but generally it is getting much drier.
Yeah, and there is also like potential for software which helps decision makers and also the government in this case to understand this better. And this needs on the application development side, so front end developers, but also experienced back end developers who have built really scalable SaaS products. And on the other side, we will also hire more salespeople for our supply chain product, right? So there will be a big go-to market, and I think specifically in Q1, Q2 next year, when more and more companies get aware of this regulation and the time window is closing that they can become compliant, like we will have way more demand, and then we also have, like, we need to have the people at the organization, right? We need to anticipate it. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's exciting times ahead, Daniel. So, a good site. So anybody that's watching this, software engineers, salespeople that like the sound of what we've been discussing should definitely keep their eyes peeled for opportunities in the future. But look, it sounds as well, like you said, with the regulations coming in, it sounds like right product, right time. And so hopefully, we'll be watching and seeing LiveEO go from strength to strength in 2024 and well beyond that. So Daniel, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. We're kind of coming towards the end of our segment here. So, it's been a delight to have you on, talk about the business, get to know you and more about the company. And look, be amazing perhaps if we could jump back onto another recap of this in a year or so's time, and then we can see what has developed with the business and where the business is at now, or then rather.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I hope also for the listeners that this podcast help you to understand how SpaceX and Elon Musk is actually connected to the cocoa you are eating, or to the coffee you are drinking every day now.
So like him or not, he's part of our lives, whether we want him part of our life or not.
Wherever, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Whatever your view is on him. I know he splits opinion, but okay. Look, Daniel, it's been a real pleasure, and yeah, I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Michael.
Nice one. Thanks, Daniel. Bye bye.